I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in Dubai here. Hardcore boxing tonight. Abdul Khan, impressed?
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I'm more impressed because not only did he get a knockout, which I told him not to go out looking for, he got a knockout doing exactly what I told him to do, and he got a knockout against a very, very good Indian fighter. This Indian kid I've seen 2 or 3 times before this kid can fight, and he's a southpaw. So to find a southpaw that really can fight is a really, really tough situation to put a young guy in. So for Abdul to go in with 7 fights and to stop this guy who has never lost, he's like 3 or 4-0 himself. They didn't say that, but he is 3 or 4-0. I know because I saw his other fights. So I know he had experience. I've seen him. I know he can fight. And I told Abdul, the first thing I told Abdul when he said he was fighting this kid was, do not underestimate him, because I knew right then he could fight. So I'm very impressed with what Abdul did, because he not only beat a guy with good potential just as he has, but he stopped him, and that's saying a lot.
Now, I noticed this week, especially, people are trying to push the narrative of a 4th fight with you and Antonio Tarver, probably because you both are in the same country.
Probably no. I think they just want it because they know that anything he and I do, we're both going to be competitive at it, because what people don't understand is a lot of people around the world don't understand that. Me and Tarver have been fighting since we were about 12 years old. I beat him at 12 or 13 years old, then I beat him the first fight as a pro, then he beat me the second 2 fights as a pro. So it's really 2-2, and everybody knows that when we come, we just bring each other's energy up, because I've been knowing him his whole life, he's been knowing me my whole life. So it's a little bit different. No, he didn't get to be what I became in boxing on a world scheme, but he got to be okay, and he did good for himself. So, people always want to see something that they know they can't lose their money on.
Now, you are due in the ring very soon, aren't you, Roy?
I am actually, April 5th. I let him talk me into a boxing MMA guy by the name of Anthony Pettis, who actually was a hell of an MMA fighter, and he's not a bad boxer / kickboxer. So it's not like that's going to be easy, but it's like, for me, I always try to say no as long as I can, but then something about it gets to a point that I can't, and there I am.
Roy, people are still going to ask. We know you did that, the one with Mike Tyson a couple of years ago now, but people are still going to ask, why does Roy Jones Jr. still need to get in the ring?
He don't need to. He don't be trying to. I wasn't trying to do this. I wasn't trying to do this tonight with him. I mean, when people put opportunities out there and they put so many different things in front of you, you be like, didn't I tell y'all I'm trying to stop? Now, here go the funny thing about this one, though. And I'm impressed with myself, because I got up to about 230 pounds. I couldn't be 230 pounds trying back in my prime. I was up to 230 pounds. They said, they kept trying to offer me this situation. I'm like, no. But then I thought about it. I said, you know what? I do need to get some of this weight off my big self. So the only way I'm going to do it is if I go to training camp, or put myself in training camp, because I know in training camp I'm going to be disciplined enough to do it. Look at me now. Yesterday I was 209. So I need it just as bad as they need it.
Okay. Right, Roy, before I do let you go, just a couple of things. Have you spoken to Chris Eubank Jr. recently? What's the situation there?
I haven't spoken to him about his business, about his situation, about what he's doing next, but I told him that he's told me about the rematch first. Then he came to the United States, so when I get back, I'm sure he'll be back to the United States. He'll be back to Florida, because he said he's going to come back down and start working again shortly. So when I get back, I'm sure he'll come back and start working, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, look, we are expected that rematch will get announced imminently. We're assuming for around May time, but just for your assessment, obviously we have spoken about this before, but your assessment from the first fight, you believe you can kind of piece together what needs to be done in order for Chris to get his kind of, say, revenge, but just kind of put that result right in Chris's opinion?
In my honest, humble opinion, all Chris got to do is do what Chris knew he needed to do in the beginning. He told me when I got there that it's going to be fun for him because he get a guy to stand right in front of him. and he sounded like he wasn't going to really back up from the guy. So when I got there, our immediate work was going toward the guy because we know the guy fights good coming forward, so we were going to say at least either go forward or circle him. In the fight, though, he didn't do that. So it's like, no matter how much I bring to the table, if he don't do what his plan is, it ain't gonna work. So I don't have to piece it together. He already know how to beat this kid. Just that he gotta stick to his plan. He told me the plan before I told it to him, because he knew the plan already. You understand me? So it's like, I don't know why he went out and changed. I mean, I do know because he felt good with his boxing. He felt like he could also outbox him, and which he could. But you first got to put him in check before you start outboxing. He was having success boxing him, but it wasn't the success I wanted to see, because I like you to put a guy in his weakest lane, then have success. Don't have success, but leave him in the strongest lane, because in the strongest lane, he's still dangerous.
Roy, there are a few rumours online circulating that that fight with Conor Benn could still materialise at some point this year. Is that something you've spoken to Chris about?
I haven't spoken to Chris about it, but I know he still wants it, because when I last spoke to him, he always talks about it, and he always still was in the back of his head. And I know he still wants that fight. So if it's possible for it to happen, I'm sure he will.
It's interesting, obviously, because Conor Benn's got his own situation, which has been ongoing since October. But I mean, the public would still want to see that fight. I mean, look, we want to see that. I'd like to see a Chris Eubank and Liam Smith rematch, but the Conor Benn fight, that's a huge fight still here in the UK.
Yeah, it's definitely still a fight.
Not here, we're in Dubai, but you know what I mean.
I understand, yeah. It's definitely a big fight in the UK, one of the biggest ever, and because of their fathers, thanks to their fathers, it's going to always be a big fight. So no matter what happens, that fight still is on the table for both of them. And the fans still would love to see the fight, because they know how good of a fight the two fights the fathers had was. So I mean, it's just a matter of getting the X's and O's together and see what's best for Chris.
Right, final one. I'm sure you would have seen the back and forth between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk over the last week or so. Roy, apparently a 70-30 split has been agreed in favour of Tyson Fury. Everyone's had their opinion about whether they think that's fair or not. I mean, what do you think about that, Roy?
I think if I were in Usyk's situation, or if I was Usyk at all, I would say no. Because Usyk has belts, he has belts. If we both champs, it's like, I understand Tyson Fury's demands, and I understand why he's doing it. And really, I'm not telling you Tyson Fury is wrong. But if I were Usyk, I don't think it's smart to take it, because now if it's more money you ever made in another fight, then you almost got to take that. But if it's not, then why would you take that when you can go fight Joshua again? You can go fight Wilder. You got several heavyweights you can go fight and make decent money with. But of course, if the money with him, if a third is better than what 100% of everybody else is, then you should take that. But if it's not, then I wouldn't do it, because a lot of times what people don't realize is if you lose the fight at the negotiating table, then you already lost the fight pretty much. What Fury is doing is the smart thing. He's trying to first beat you up business-minded first. If he beats your business mind, then he already halfway ahead of you in the competition mind, if you're in the physical mind in the ring. So if he beats you in the business part of it, then the physical part of it, he got the edge already. And that's what he's trying to do, which is smart by Tyson Fury. And to Tyson Fury's credit, he's right. Everybody in the world knows who Tyson Fury is. A lot of people in the world still don't know who Usyk is. And that's a true statement. So I can't say he's wrong, but I'm also saying that if I were Usyk, unless it's way more money than I'm making, unless it's double the money that I make for fighting these other guys, I wouldn't do it, because if you lose it, you're done. Then they're going to say you were crazy to take the deal like that anyway. And you could have made that same money just beating two more guys that probably going to be easier for you to beat anyway. So you got to see what makes best. Like I said, 100% of nothing is nothing. So if, like, in the other situations that I know about, that I heard about, if this guy bought you $25 million and you only get $6 million to fight these two guys, $6 million and $6 million, that's 12. That 25 for that guy was 4 times as much as you won't get to fight these two guys. Why would you not fight that guy? That's crazy. But now, if that 25 million ain't 25 million, that 25 million is 8 million, and you can get 6 for him and 6 for him, then you're right. Go fight him for 6, then go fight him for 6. Don't take that chance for 8 when you know you probably gonna get beaten, or you might get beaten anyway. You understand me? So don't do that. So yeah.
Who do you favour in that right now?
Right now, I favor Fury because he's the bigger man. I mean, Usyk is an awesome fighter, but they're both awesome technicians. So with both of them being awesome technicians, usually the good big guy beats the good little guy. But we'll see.
Okay, Roy, I know you're on your way out of here very shortly, so much appreciate your time as you always give IFL TV. Have you got anything else you want to say, Roy?
I just want to say thank you all for supporting me throughout the years. I love boxing. I'm always going to be a fan of boxing. Abdul looked excellent tonight. Tony been looking excellent in his fights, and the UK, we're on the way.
Roy, we'll see you soon, and God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother.
Refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 17, 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,